half of the Mexican people, or are you sitting here talking about half of the Latinos? Because either way you want to slice it or dice it, neither of those numbers are true. It's not half of Mexicans that voted for Trump, and it's not half of Latinos who voted for Trump. And as I stated in my response video to you, which you obviously didn't listen to, I specifically said that Latinos are black, they're white, they're native, they're Asian, and there's hundreds different of ethnic groups amongst that group. We are not a race. We are not an ethnic group. It is a large homogenization in order to promote indigenous and African erasure. So don't sit here and try to tell me what I already know and what I preach on a consistent basis on my platform to ignorant people like you who want to continuously homogenize us and put us into a monolith as if we're one entire group.
You mean the same thing you do to black people when you calling us niggas in Spanish?
When did I say that? And show me the fucking proof.
What you talking about? It's multiple.
Show me the fucking receipts.
Your people.
Are you listening to people who fucking have a problem with me? People in my community that I've called out for their anti-blackness, that I've called out for their anti-nativeness because they push misinformation and pseudo shit. And they've been found out to be pretendians. That's who you're listening to? So if you don't have fucking receipts of me calling people a fucking mayate, then I need you to not commit lateral violence against a native woman. Period. Show me the fucking receipt or don't spread harmful lateral violence against a native woman. You don't fucking like it? You don't like it? You don't get control in my space, motherfucker. You don't. You don't. How dare you, as a man, think you can summon a native woman into your space? Are you insane? You don't summon native women into your space. Yes. You better have fucking receipts of me calling black people mayates. If you don't, then you are directly responsible for committing lateral violence against a native woman because you can't handle being called out for your anti-native and xenophobic rhetoric. And now you think you're going to speak over me in my space as a native woman. Fuck out of here.
I don't give a damn about none of that. You don't even
don't.
Black people.
Because you're performative. You're a performative fake ally. That's what the fuck you are. Your allyship is conditional. You ain't no better than a white man. You ain't no better than a Trumper. You ain't no better than anybody that you sit here and you preach against. You are performative and fake. That's what you are. You're a misogynist. You're anti-native and you're xenophobic as fuck. And you mad? And you don't want to admit it because you got a following who sits there and backs you up like a bunch of fucking cult members, and they don't want to acknowledge the anti-native and xenophobic rhetoric that they push onto brown people. Mind you, we are the fucking indigenous peoples of these lands. Remember that. Remember that. Remember that. Remember that. Remember that. Remember that. Have a fucking day. Don't you ever think you're going to come into a native woman's space and then fucking turn around and think you're going to control my space. Who the fuck do you think you are? You're mad because I called out your shit. You're mad because I called out your misinformation. You're mad because you got called out. You're mad because you're performative and people see it. You attacked the Native community when you thought 65% of them voted for Trump. Oh, you forgot that. You attacked Palestinians who, even if 100% of those Palestinian Americans voted for Kamala, it wouldn't have made a fucking dent. The only people that you are not putting the blame on and who deserve sole blame is white people, in particularly white Democrats. And you know why you don't want to put the blame on them? Because you get breadcrumbs from them and you keep voting for them. Don't get mad at the brown people who stopped taking the breadcrumbs and said enough is enough and we're not doing shit for this fucking government anymore. Don't get mad at the brown people for saying that both evils are not one is lesser than the other. They're both equally the same. Don't get mad at the brown people for wanting to not participate in the system that causes our fucking genocide. You as a man don't get to summon me to your fucking space. If you don't got receipts on me calling black people mayates, you are committing lateral violence against a Native woman. So you're gonna go off a fucking hearsay like a little bitch? That's what you're gonna do. From people who don't like me because I've called them out on their anti-blackness and anti-nativeness. For people who don't like me because they've been found out to be fucking pretendians and lying about who they are. You sit there and want and say black people are gonna step out. You don't speak for all black people. You don't. And y'all don't get to tokenize Native people when it's for your benefit. Oh, all us Mexicans, all of those people, all those brown Latinos were fucking indigenous to these lands when you were over there yelling at white people now, weren't they? Oh, how dare you? How dare you? These are their lands. How dare you? And now we're all fucking Latinos. Huh? Now we're all fucking Latinos. We were indigenous when it benefited you, when you could tokenize us, but we were not indigenous when you thought that we voted for a fascist because you were too dumb and couldn't do your due diligence to figure out how to read a fucking exit poll. If you don't know how to do math, say that. You think I'm one of these fucking sorry ass people that you can send your fucking followers after and think you could intimidate me? You got the wrong motherfucking one. The wrong motherfucking one. That's what you're used to, right? But you don't know me. And you don't know how hard I fight for my fucking people. Don't you ever, ever come into a Native woman's space and think you can overspeak her. In your goddamn life, you better think about that again before you do it again.
This panel for BGM legislation.
Can I just say that was thoroughly entertaining?
I haven't met a single senator.
I loved every second of that.
But of the 60-odd senators I talked to,
It's not meant for entertainment. It's meant for people to hear the fucking truth.
I know, but that shit was fucking funny as hell.
through a law,
Because I agree with it.
a law to give transparency to BBMs.
Oh shit, my bad. My TV's on. Close my remote.
I'm gonna let people one up at a time because I see some people who are in my comments talking shit. So there'll be one let up at a time right now. So I'm gonna drop you for now.
Oh, you good?
All right.
Hello?
Yes,
How you doing today?
I'm good.
So I agree with 100% what you just said right now about everything you said right now. I'm a Latino and I just, I don't know how other Latinos voted for Trump.
You're a Latino who voted for Trump?
No, I don't know how other Latinos voted for Trump.
I can tell you exactly how some of them did. There are some that did it because they're anti-black. There are some that did it because they're misogynist. And then there are some who did it because they were targeted by the Republicans on ads on the economy where the Democrats target immigration policy on them. Experiences with one person because, I mean, I couldn't complain about my anecdotal experiences with several people. I don't apply that to the entire black community. You want to know how many black pretendians have called me a wetback? Told me I'm a Siberian husky? I'm a conquistador? Stop. I do not apply that to the entire black community. Stay muted. You're not going to come up in my space and think you're going to tell me that your anecdotal bigotry by a certain Latino or Mexican person, you're not going to come complain to me about that. Because what you're trying to do is generalize. And again, I'm going to be very clear on these polling exit numbers. 23,000 respondents. That means 23,000 of over the 150 million people that were eligible to vote and who voted. 23,000 were asked, who did you vote for? 23,000. Out of that 23,000, about 4,000 from each race. About 4,000. Within the quote unquote Latino numbers, that 4,000 includes Mexicans, Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, El Salvadorians, Guatemalans, anybody who is eligible to vote who falls in those categories. We are not the same ethnic groups. We are not the same people. We have similarities because we have the same colonizer. But we are not the same people. We require different needs and different things for our communities. So out of that 4,000, hold on.
But then you're not even taking accountability for
I'm not done speaking. Out of that 4,000 and that entire mixture of different groups, not to mention that Latinos also are white, black, Asian, and Native. So not to mention that out of that entire 4,000 people, see, they don't want to listen to the truth. That entire 4,000 people of several different races and several different ethnic groups somehow account for 50%, somehow account for 30 million of the 65 million Latinos in this country.
Your point.
Is math hard? Is math hard for people?
No.
Anybody else can say something.
Just speak over everybody. You kind of just speak over everybody. It's kind of hard to talk.
Well, this is her space, first of all. Second of all, you know,
She's letting people into the live. What do you mean her space?
It's her,
like
this her live. This is her live, and you talked over Lala.
We're not doing that in this space. I don't know what spaces you hang out in, but we don't do that.
Oh my God, I talked over Lala. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Shut up, white boy. Go away. Again, I don't know what men think that you have control in my space. You men do not have control in my space. And it's wild, like I said, how a man thought he could summon me. You want to see that receipt? I got a DM from some random person saying, you've been summoned. Not a man summoning a Native woman to his live where I can be attacked. If that's not lateral fucking violence, I don't know what is. While sitting there listening to people who are spreading lies and misinformation about me because they mad at me and they got a big platform to talk shit about me on right now.
Yeah, the amount of lies is crazy. Crazy over there.
So I heard Choppa pulled up and did something to me, apparently.
Apparently.
Bitch lived 45 minutes away. She never pulled up to shit. She put my address out all over the fucking internet, though. How about that? Yeah, you're listening to a doxer. Oh, and since we're being honest, you know that voice recording of her saying that she was Apache? And then going around all over TikTok saying she never said that? How that got leaked? I got receipts. People don't got receipts on me. So if you're going to listen to hearsay about me, then you ain't no better than a white man or a white woman. Get mad at that. Attack me because I called out your anti-nativeness. Attack me because I called out your xenophobia. If you ain't proving my fucking point, literally proving my whole fucking point. And don't think you're going to cancel me like you do with the other people that get into it and call you out for your bullshit. I'm not meek, and I'm definitely not weak. This is my 4th fucking account. I've survived worse from people who harass me on this fucking app because they don't like truth to power. I'm not the fucking one. And unless you can come with facts and not anecdotal bullshit, don't think you're gonna debate me either. Because I don't give a fuck about your opinion. Your opinion is anti-native. Your opinion is xenophobic. So if you're not intellectually able to debate me about the fucking numbers, then you're already beneath me when it comes to having conversations.
Hello, I'm sorry. I was getting a phone call.
That's okay. What would you like to say?
I just wanted to add on to what you were saying because I've been on a lot of panels, actually talking to like Trump supporters and things. And what I've noticed is because it was very confusing to me how the Latino vote went, considering what Trump's plans were. And to agree with you, there are a lot of Latinos that try to keep a proximity to whiteness that did vote for Trump and doesn't really care about what's going on. They're even on the panel saying that their parents came in illegally, but they don't think it's right for other people to have opportunity. And it's just very confusing to me. But it's just as you said, like they want.
I hear you. So let me help clear the confusion. If POC across the board have been colonized, assimilated, manipulated, and conditioned to have biases, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those biases also obtain to their own people, right? So in every community, you have people who will step down on the necks to pull themselves up of their own people. That happens everywhere because of the system we are in.
Yes.
So even our own people will vote against their best interest, just like every community has it. What the problem is that the media presented these numbers as it was more than half of the entire Latino population, and it wasn't. It was more than half of the people they polled. And they only polled 23,000 people nationwide, and most of them were in red states. So that's not even indicative of the black vote. It's not indicative of the white vote. It's not indicative of any vote because it's not a large enough sample size to account for the, 80 million people who voted, right? So they manipulated those numbers and we all fell for it. Everybody fell for it. And instead of admitting that we fell for another propaganda scheme by the media, everybody is fighting each other. And then making it seem like the majority of other groups did this to themselves. They didn't. Okay. You know, does that make sense? Does that help clear up that confusion?
I'm still a little confused about the numbers. You said that they only counted the people at the polls, but weren't there reports of the actual votes?
So they cannot. So when you vote, your race is not disclosed when you vote. So they rely on exit polls. So people stand outside of the polls and will stop people and say, "Hey, who did you vote for an exit poll? How do you identify?" So mind you, these are also people are self-identifying. When you think of immigrants, you automatically think of brown people. You see, it's not white people getting caught up in these raids. There's whole communities of undocumented white people here.
And this whole thing, this whole deportation thing, it's just white people trying to sterilize this country and make it more white. Like, it has nothing really to do with criminals or traffickers, or like, they don't care about that because that's why crime runs rampant in this country. You know, but it sounds good. It sounds good to the populace. They can make their excuse. They don't have to deal with their racism that this whole movement came from. It came from the point of racism and an erasure, and so they don't want to deal with that. So they say, oh yeah, well, we're going to get rid of the criminals. They're going to get rid of anybody who's brown. They're already taking people that are born here. They've taken some. They're harassing indigenous people that are indigenous to North America. Like it just has to do with brown people. It has to do with bleaching this country.
Bouncing off of that fact, I don't know if a lot of people know about this either, is that there is not a lot of crime reported accurately on reservations as well, because as a Native American woman, this is just an act that was passed not too long ago, a couple of years ago. It was when I was in high school, which was 10 years ago. There was a act called the Violence Against Women's Act that finally got approved, which is where, as say I am a Native woman, I get, say, brutally murdered or attacked by somebody that is not Native American and was on federal grounds. My family, or if I survive the attack, I cannot prosecute that person because they are not affiliated with my tribe. I cannot get justice.
So it's increasing MMIW.
Exactly. And that's why there's not enough accurate reports about violence, about anger, and just anything in general. But that act just got passed 10 years ago. You can look it up, or if you want me to send you the link, I can.